Hello, welcome to Integrate. I'm Rhiannon. Today we have a hip opening and grounding series. So we're going to be focusing on the opening of our hips and our feet. So to start though, we're going to find each of our sit bones, stacking our shoulders a little bit more over our hips, ears a little bit more over our shoulders. We're going to take our arms into prayer center, pressing our palms together. We're going to press our arms forward, pulling our shoulder blades apart. From here, we're going to release one hand down, back down to our legs, keeping that reach in the other arm. We're going to connect with our breath. So starting with your palm facing down. As you inhale, you're going to flip the palm and turn your head to look over your shoulder. Exhale, release. Inhale, turn the palm, look over your shoulder. Exhale, release. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhale, looking. Exhale, looking forward. Last one, inhale, look over your shoulder. Exhale, release. Bringing your hands back to prayer, pressing your palms, pushing out, finding that space in your shoulders. Releasing one hand down, the other hand down, palm facing down. Inhale, flip the palm up as you look over your shoulder. Exhale, looking forward. Inhale, look over your shoulder. Exhale, forward. 3 more. Last one here. Inhale, looking over that shoulder. Exhale, looking forward, letting your hand float down to your knees. We're going to be coming into a child's pose next. So coming around, bringing those toes together, knees apart, pressing your hips back towards your heels, releasing your head down towards the mat. We're going to spread our fingers and press into the mat. We're going to press our palms down, lifting up our spine between our shoulder blades up towards the sky. And while you're lifting up that spine, think about dropping your armpits down nice and strong in that upper body. On your next exhale, releasing down. Inhale, rising just enough to walk your hands out to the right side. Dropping down, sinking that left hip down. And each inhale, fill your rib cage, lift away from your hip a little bit more on that left side. One more inhale. Here, exhale, then walking through center, coming to that left side, sinking that right hip down, using that inhale to bring your rib cage a little bit further from your belt line in each inhale. One more round of breath here. Inhale. Exhale, sinking down. Your next inhale, walk it back to center. And then we're going to lift back up into that tabletop position. So from here, we're going to be bringing our left leg forward, coming into a low lunge. And then we're going to be taking that back leg though, instead of pointing it out, we're going to turn the foot towards behind you. so that you're almost making more of a perpendicular angle with your legs. And then we're going to come up tall. So we're opening up that back hip more like we would in Warrior Two than we would in a usual in a normal low lunge. And we're going to focus on our feet here. So you're going to inhale, kind of press back nice and tall in the back hip. Then as you exhale, you're going to think about pressing into that edge, inside edge of your foot, feeling your arch collapse down. Inhale, press into the outside edge of your heel, ball of your big toe, feeling that arch rise. So inhale, arch collapses as you go forward. Exhale, it rises. You could always pad that back knee a bit more if that doesn't feel comfortable. Do 2 more like this. Last one. Now we're going to be dropping our hand behind. We're going to be straightening this leg first, pointing the toes, and then turning your foot towards the side. We're going to be dropping that back hand towards the ground, coming into a gate variation, the gate side plank. So with each inhale, again, continuing feeling that expansion, opening up the area between your rib cage and your pelvis. Pressing this bottom hip forward. One more inhale here. And on your exhale, using the strength of your core, lift yourself back up. Turning that toe, pointing it forward, keeping the leg long. We're going to try to square our chest a little bit more towards those legs, and then we're going to pull that hip back, coming into more of a hamstring stretch. So kind of a variation of half monkey. We've got that front leg and internal rotation. That back hip is more an external. Opening up that back hip while we stretch out our hamstring. One more round of breath here. And then bending that knee, turning that leg to come back into that basic low lunge. We're going to swing that front leg back to join our other leg. And then we're just going to do a couple more cat-cows here before we go to the other side. So rounding the spine, dropping your belly down and looking up for that cow. Just a couple. And then we'll start setting up on the other side. So this time bringing that right leg forward, coming into that low lunge, spinning that back foot behind you, making that perpendicular lines with your legs, and then lifting up, pressing that back hip forward behind you, so that opening up that hip, and then starting with your knee behind your ankle, we're going to inhale, come forward, feel that arch of your foot collapse. Exhale, pressing into the ball of your big toe, outside edge of your heel, coming up, arch lifts. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, pressing back. Last one. And straightening that leg, pointing the toes, turning the toes to face in front of you. We're going to drop that back hand down towards the mat behind us, lifting our arm up and overhead to come into that gate side plank. Using that inhale, pulling your rib cage away from your belt line. Still pressing forward in that supporting leg. One more round of breath here. On your next inhale, using the strength of your core, lifting on up, turning your toes back forward, squaring your torso towards your leg, and then hinging forward, finding that hamstring stretch, pulling that hip back. One more round of breath here. Bending the knee, coming forward, rotating that back leg back into that basic lunge. Hand to the inside of the foot, bringing that foot back. Setting up and coming into tabletop. This time we're going to walk our hands forward a little bit, tuck those toes. We're going to press back into a downward facing dog. Pressing your collarbones through your shoulders, lifting your tailbone up. Nice strong arms like we were doing in that child's pose earlier. And then sink your heels down towards the ground while lifting that tailbone up high. From here, we're going to shift our weight into our right foot, picking up that left foot, first sending it back, and then bringing your knee towards your nose. Keep going forward until you can plant that foot between your hands. Turn that right foot out for warrior two, so pointing towards the long edge of the mat. Then we're going to lift on up, cartwheeling the hands, coming into that warrior two. So pull your collarbones apart. Take a moment to drop your hands though. Find the inside edge of your thigh. Help roll the thigh out so you can see the ball, your big toe. And then press into the ball of your big toe, outside edge of your foot, and find the arch in that foot. Once you have it, extend those arms out long, dropping the tailbone down, looking over that front arm. From here, we're going to flip the hand, reaching forward a little bit before tipping back into that peaceful warrior. Think about lifting your rib cage away from your belt line. Each inhale, rising you up a little bit more. Exhale, sinking your tailbone down a little bit more. Your next inhale, coming back into that warrior two. Bringing your forearm to your thigh, arm up for that side angle. You keep your arm on your thigh, or you can start opening it up, open up that leg, maybe sinking down towards the ground. You keep that arm long, or bring it overhead to bring that Nice long line of energy from your fingertips to your back foot. Then inhale using the strength of your torso, lifting back up into warrior two. Maybe taking a moment to straighten that leg before sinking back into it. From here, we're going to be setting up for that half moon pose. So bringing your hands to your hips first, maybe taking a little bit of a step forward. We're just going to start coming forward, weighting our front foot more and more. Finding that middle ground in your arch where it's not fully lifted or fully compressed. And you're going to just keep coming forward. Heel will come up with your toe pointed. And then maybe you can start floating it, opening it up. So your hips are stacked, ribs are stacked. You can open up your arms, maybe come down to something, a block or whatever, or down to the floor, or you can just bring your foot down. Each inhale, bringing your shoulder blade a little bit more stacked on the bottom one. Just playing with this for a couple more breaths. Whew. And when you're ready, coming back through that warrior two, cartwheeling the hands down to frame the foot, stepping back into that downward facing dog. Then we're going to go right into the other side, shifting that weight into your left foot this time. First, extending that right leg back, then bringing that knee in towards your chest as much as you can, and then placing your foot between your hands, turning that back foot so your toes are pointing towards the long edge of the mat. And we're going to come on up, opening up into that warrior two. Taking that arm down to your thigh, giving that pressure into the inside edge of your thigh, helping it roll out, lifting your arch so you can see your arch and big toe, and then coming back into that warrior two. Feel your exhale, sinking your tailbone a little bit more. We're going to flip that palm, bringing it forward, tipping it back, coming into that peaceful warrior. Using your inhales to bring your rib cage away from your belly. And on your next inhale, coming back into that warrior two, releasing your arm down to your thigh, coming up for that side angle, staying here or opening up that arm to press into that thigh, maybe sinking towards the ground, or taking that arm overhead to make that long line of energy. Then bringing that arm up, using the strength of your core, lifting back up into that warrior two. Maybe taking a moment to straighten that leg before sinking back down into it. Bringing your hands to your hips, maybe stepping that back leg forward a little bit. We're going to start shifting our weight into that front foot, weighting it more and more, finding that nice middle ground with your arch, and just keep shifting forward as your back heel comes up. Maybe your toes will start popping up, lifting it up, opening those arms if you want, stacking the hips on top of each other, stacking shoulder blades, flexing that foot, toes pointed to the side of you. Each inhale, Bringing that shoulder blade back a little bit more. Couple more breaths here. And when you're ready, you can come back into that warrior two. Bringing your hands to frame the foot, pressing back into a downward facing dog. And then releasing your knees down, toes together, knees apart, sinking into that child's pose. And then rolling up through the spine. And transition back into a comfortable seated position. Let's take that inhale up, bringing our hands overhead. Exhale through heart center. I thank you for joining me today for this yoga practice. The light in me bows to the light in you. I hope to see you in another video.